years I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
welcome back. Welcome back. How is everyone on this hot July day? How are you doing, El Cid?
You ain't lying. It is a hot July day, and I had to run inside.
Oh my gosh, was it that hot out there and where you are?
It's 90, but it's muggy. You know how humid it is in Georgia?
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
muggy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. And you guys in the chat, please go ahead and drop down in the chat. Say hello to us. Don't have to hide in those bushes tonight. Let us know where you're watching from. Is it hot? Is it moderate? You know, is it humid? Is it a dry heat? Are you in Arizona or Las Vegas? Let us know. Please let us know. Absolutely. I wanted to just real quickly, I wanted to ask you, El Cid, and I wanted to ask everyone in the chat. Guys, what are you watching now? What are you watching? Like, you know, like what movie, what TV series? What are you watching? El Cid, what are you going to be watching?
It's gonna be too much. I'm watching a lot. I'm watching this Match Me Abroad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching tonight starts oh gosh, King's Court,
King's
where
Court. Yeah.
the men are choosing a life partner amongst a whole bunch of women. Basically 3 bachelors at one time.
Okay.
Then I'm watching Alone, the survival show. I'm recapping that too. There's so much I am watching that I'm like at a loss for everything that I'm watching. But yeah, I'm watching a lot of just to make up for the time that I before Love Is Blind hit the airwaves again.
Mm-hmm. You're also watching what is it? Is it called Alone?
Yeah, that's why I said Alone, the survival show on History
Okay.
Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do that
Okay.
recap, and it is awesome because they're in South Africa, where they've always been in the Arctic Circle, but this time they are battling the heat and they are battling the animals of the Karoo Desert in South Africa.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a lot. That is a lot going on, lady. You got a lot of stuff. You got love shows, you got alone shows, you've got men on King's Court. That sounds so amazing. That sounds so amazing. Oh, hey there. How are you? Good evening, El Cid and friend. Yes. Hey there, plain Genie. Okay. All right. Good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Please don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. What did you think of this week's episode?
I liked it. Every week I'm going to say I liked it, but I liked it. It gave me some zingers. It gave me some shorts.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I saw those.
It gave me a sense of Harold more, and I understand. Every week I keep saying I understand Harold more and more, and as I say all the time, my youngest son is autistic, and I have a lot to say with this date that Harold had, that I can clearly see Harold and his date.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Harold had a lot going on. Harold had a lot going on. And then I was kind of like a little bit upset with his matchmaker too, a little bit.
Yes. I was very upset with her. Very upset.
Yeah, like what? You sent him on what kind of date? We'll get to that in a second, but you sent him on what kind of date? Knowing Harold? Like, weren't you not aware?
Right. I was really upset with that. That I was upset with.
Yeah, like I think like it's almost like a setup to failure. Like what was going on there?
Yeah, truly a TV setup.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I thought to myself, now she did not have the eyesight or the vision for Harold. Like last season, wasn't Harold with Katarina when he was
Yes.
over? Yeah, okay. Because Katarina seemed to really have him pegged a little bit better than the other lady. This lady here, Dolly. Dolly.
Yeah, I have issue, and we'll talk about it with the date because I don't think she set not only Harold but his date up with an appropriate date. But we'll get there.
Okay, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yes. So I don't know. Yeah, we gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So let's get started. Okay, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. Um let's see here. Gotta get to my media stuff here. Swinging over to the media. And by the way, guys, I didn't get a chance, or I neglected to tell you guys last week, these wonderful, wonderful wonderful photos of our cast members, like Victoria here in the right hand corner. These were done by our illustrious El Cid. She did all,
Hey.
and she's just like so talented because I don't know how to do a lot of this stuff. So I'm always like, how do I do this, El Cid? Can you do it for me? Okay, thank you. So she did these for us. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We start out this episode with Victoria, and Victoria, she's got a lot going on. We know Victoria lives and resides in what some people call the world's greatest city in the world, which is New York City. I think El Cid knows a little bit about that
Just
place.
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, so she is over in Ireland. She's in Dublin, Ireland, as well as our girl Amber. And so she's over there and she meets up with the matchmaker, Katarina. And like I said, Katarina seems to really have her pulse, her hand on the pulse of everything that's going on. And she has really pegged our girl, Victoria, saying that Victoria is really, she surmises she's really kind of like a people pleaser. Would you agree with that, Elsie? Do you, so far as we've observed, or you've observed, do you think she's a little bit of a people pleaser?
Yeah, and I wonder about that since she lived in New York so long. And I'm not saying every New Yorker is like that. I'm not. I'm not. And we know she's a transplant to New York.
Yes.
So it to me, it's like, how did New York not chew her up and spit her out? Because you kind of get you kind of get somewhat of a tough skin when you're in New York. It kind of like hardens your shell, just makes you a little more, wear and tear. But it just, she is a people pleaser. She wants to make her friends or whoever around her happy with her, because even with Carolina, she says, see, I did my homework. See, she's like the eager beaver for everyone around her.
Yes, yes. And I had to come back. I almost skipped this this photo from the show. Like, I was like so shocked when I saw her going through her clothes that she was going to wear for the evening, because I believe that they asked her to put on something sexy, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! Oh
I'd
my
have lost
goodness!"
my mind. I would have lost my mind.
Is that how she comes in? I'm assuming she's going to be in Dublin, Ireland for a couple of weeks. Why aren't these clothes in hangers and in drawers? Like, what's going on here? You got a beautiful hotel room and you got everything just thrown inside, still inside your suitcase.
The way I pack, it wouldn't be like this. And Victoria, all I gotta tell you is what saved me with my packing is packing cubes. If she had packing cubes, she would not be looking like this.
Oh,
okay. Hang up your sweaters, hang up this stuff. Your dating clothes should already be hanging so they can kind of get the wrinkles out.
Yes, this is what I'm worried about. I'm like, what? Like, what is all of this? Plus, it's just so messy. Like, nothing.
Yeah, because she's just digging for whatever she wants. And you know what it is? Look at this. If you looked at the show, you'll see the size of her room is substantial, and she's used to living in a small apartment in New York. So that's the way I felt her behavior was. She's still acting like she's in the tiny studio that she lives in.
Oh, okay. Oh, I hadn't. You know what? Now had never crossed my mind that she's accustomed to being in a small, tiny, little bitty space, and she doesn't like to take up much space, right? Oh wow. Let's see. What is a plain genie saying? Why they match her with yeah, we got to get there. We're going to get there. You know what? And they're going to tell you why. We're going to find out why too, right? We're going to find out
Mm-hmm.
why. Yeah, Elsie. Yep, yep, yep. To teach her a lesson. Exactly. We're getting there. We're getting there, right? Yeah. So anyway, so we have her meeting up with her matchmaker, which is Katerina. And while they're talking, so this is an interesting conversation. What did you think that of this, that Katerina was asking her, what kind of guy do you like? She brought her list, true enough. She brought a list of things that she likes about a guy, but Katerina had to when she finished, Katerina had to jump in and say, well, you know what? Here's the thing, I hear you're still going basically on a superficial level. He has to have hair. He has to be 6 feet tall. Mind you, now this lady is all of like 4'11", 5 feet. Like, so why does he have to be 6 feet tall? Can somebody explain? What did you think of that, El Cid?
Because she wants an electrician, like Catalina told her last episode. She wants a man
Okay.
tall enough to reach a top shelf, forgetting that they sell ladders out here. You
Right.
know, I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. She listed out all the great things she wanted. Granted, it was superficial. You know, the tall, the this, the outer man. But then when we get to the inner man, it didn't match up. She wanted the bad boy. She wanted
Mm-hmm.
the dark, mysterious, you know, maybe he would be, you know, two steps away from doing something illegal, or maybe he has done
Make
something illegal.
like maybe illegal drugs, perhaps even, right?
That's what she said, yes. But she's looking for a duplicate of her father. She's looking for someone to give her that feeling her father gave her, not realizing that wasn't really healthy, Victoria.
No, no. Her father, by the way, guys, if you haven't caught up yet, her father, we find out earlier in another episode, had been incarcerated. And, you know, though she spent a lot of time writing to her father and visiting her father, when Katerina asked her, was your father, how was he with commitment? What did she say, Elsa?
How was she with commitment? That
How, how was her
he
dad with commitment? Yes.
he didn't commit. I mean, all he did was commit illegal acts. I mean,
Commit crimes.
right. That is exactly all he was committing to. And I see this as her romanticizing the
Hmm.
true depth of what the life her father was living and what he caused her to live. She has romanticized this like, oh, I'm going to visit my dad. Your father is, you know, for lack of a better term, he's a criminal. And you have
Yeah.
romanticized him. I'm not saying don't love your father, but let's be honest.
Right.
He's not in jail because he was the, you know, the block, you know, neighbor of the year.
Right, right. That's true. And that also, like you said, as an adult woman, now we expect that out of children. When we're children, we tend to romanticize our parents. We look up to our fathers as the strongest, wisest men in the world, and our mothers as being sweet and great, you know, at being supportive and nurturing. But as you get older and you mature and you become an adult, you have to kind of really look at your parents with an eye that's more objective, particularly as it relates to when you're dating and you're looking for that gender and you're looking for something from that parent. So you're thinking, well, I want someone to match my father's energy, but the father's energy was that such that he was incarcerated. He really wasn't emotionally available to her. He wasn't there physically for her because he was incarcerated. And I know, you know, every day, like don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking parents that have been incarcerated or been in prison, but to say that you want a mate to be just like that person, you got to really stop and think about that. Is that really what you need? Is that really what you want?
Right. Do you want a mate where you're having their children or you had their child and you've got to take your child to go visit them in prison and they're not here with you raising the family?
Plain Jeannie, you are hilarious. Plain Jeannie says she has to go to lock up abroad.
She better. That's another great show. Like Love After Lockup here.
Love
There's
after lockup.
there's locked up abroad. I've
Locked
seen
up
that.
abroad.
I've
That
seen
is
that.
a that is
Hmm.
hilarious. Yeah. Because like you said, he's just not available. And so but anyway, I guess what Katarina got out of this is okay, well, that's all right. I'll give her what she says she wants and let's see if that's really truly what she needs. I'm going to give her a bad boy. And so that's how she ends up with this guy. That's how she ends up with him. This guy right here, oh crazy Dave. So Dave, they're getting ready to go on a date. Their first date, he pulls up in this car. What was that? Like it had some kind of like weird horn sound to it.
It's a train horn. That's why I put it on my short. You see a train.
Oh
It's a
my God.
train horn. I love it. I'm sorry. At her age, I would have totally dig this date. I'm sorry, but especially when we hear his stats. Okay, let's talk about who he is.
Okay, go ahead. Talk about his stats then,
He is
Elsie.
a very successful financier. He just
Yeah.
doesn't show it. He's
No.
not outwardly. He got this car and he's talking about how he only spent what 200 or 400 quid
Right.
to get that horn changed. It's a little car, and she's like, I cringe with embarrassment being seen with him. But apparently, he's a very successful man in finance.
Yes, I did catch that. I did catch that when the matchmaker was giving us her confessional. So I'm not so sure if Victoria was aware of that or not. But yes, she did say that he's very successful. So I guess maybe this is kind of his way of release is to do all of these pranks and be kind of like the funny
Yes.
man and the the class clown, if you will. Um, because we see so anyway, they're going on this date. They're going to get oysters, and so they're at an oyster farm and they're in these knee-high like waterproof boots. Not a very romantic date, but I guess a fun date. When the guy is showing them this is how you wash off the oysters, you wash all this off with this high pressure hose. And so he turns it on himself and says, well, let me see, let me wash myself off. And I was like, what is he doing? What did you think of that? What did you think of that, Elsie?
See, I would totally go back and forth with someone like him. Like he, splash himself. Y'all, of course, we're grown here. This is for grown folk. You're supposed to be washing the oysters that we're supposed to be eating later. And here
Hmm.
you are trying to hose yourself down. I will not. You are not on the menu, sir. Wash the daggone oysters, not yourself. Didn't you wash before you came here? I would have been going back and forth with him and had a good time.
You would
But
have gave
she,
you would have gave him the what for her, but she was like in
yes,
shock. She was in shock with that.
she wasn't shocked that he would behave this way. And it's like, this is what you wanted, an unpredictable man.
That's what she said she wanted. Unpredictable,
But she
unpredictable.
also looks like she doesn't want to be part of, foraging for your food, because it seems like she just wanted to sit and eat oysters. When
Hmm.
I would have enjoyed that farm and, wearing the boots, and they're teaching us a lot with Ireland. Go on these dates with these, dirty boots, you know,
Hmm.
go and farm out your oysters yourself, wash them off. They bring it to the table. That is truly farm to table.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed it, the freshness of it and all of that. But here's the thing I'm wondering, and I don't know, I guess she had some idea because she wasn't overly dressed or anything like that. But I'm wondering, did she know the date was going to be, whereas you had to put the boots on? But she was casually dressed. She didn't have on heels, unlike our girl last week, Amber, with the high heels and and the what is that, alpacas or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's kind of funny, but nonetheless, yeah, this is what he's doing. And if you don't have a good sense of humor and you don't like practical jokes and things like that, you're really not going to like this, because the next thing you know, they're in the restaurant eating the oysters and they give him Tabasco sauce and he says, "Oh, this is hot." He tastes it first, then he turns around and says, "Well, what about if I put this in my eye?" Like what? What?
I thought Catalina put him up to it. I said she probably told him, I need you to be your wildest ever because I need to scare this young lady. I need you to
Ah,
do this for me, Dave, please.
I
And, even if he just swig it just to drink it, that would have been enough. But he went for gusto.
he
He went
went
and
for the
poured it
guess.
in his eye, and there's no milk around. Nothing to dilute the effect of this hot sauce in his eye.
Man, I'm nearsighted enough as it is. I'm not trying to put nothing in my eye. I'm sorry. I don't know. But we see him later on. He finds a sink and he's putting
Washing
clean
it
water,
off. Right.
washing it off. But in the meantime, she's looking at him like, man, what is wrong with you? You
Now, if
are
I found him
crazy.
attractive, I would tell him sit down, and I would, lick it off. I would have if I found him
Woo!
attractive. Sit down.
Wait a minute, on the first date, Elsie? Oh my goodness. Oh, are
If
you
you
wow?
find him attractive, you would certainly help him. Okay, you would
Mm,
certainly help him.
Elsie, wow, woman. Okay.
But again, I'm allergic to some peppers, and I certainly don't eat Tabasco. But or I would use the oyster thing to scrape it off of his face. But that's just it to get closer. But Victoria is trying to get far and far away from this dude.
She is. She jumped up from her seat and she's looking at him like, man, something is really wrong with you. But like you said, this is what Katerina wanted her to really recognize. If you've got somebody that's unpredictable, they're wild, they're out there, they're doing things that are out of the ordinary. And every turn, Victoria seemed to say, well, I would be so embarrassed. I would be wondering what my friends would think of him, you know. And so, really, what we find out is she's a lot more timid about and more conservative about the man that she really truly needs than what she said she was, right?
Exactly. She is all the way timid. It's like she's looking at the camera crew for help, and they're like, "Sweetie, this is your date. This is
Hmm.
your date. We are not touching this with the 10 foot, mic pole. We are over here.
Right.
You handle your date. How would you help him?" And it looks like she just throws her hands up, and she's just, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, she
You're not
seems
ready
like
for this man.
she's not ready for the wild, crazy man that she thinks she wants.
But
She's
he
not
ain't
ready.
that wild and crazy, though. I hate to say.
I know, but it's just showing that this is throwing her off. Like to your point, if this little bit, if the high pressure water hose, him using it on himself, him putting Tabasco sauce, because I might would have been entertained too. I don't know about the licking it off, LC it there, but I might would have been entertained too. Because like, what are you doing? You know, uh, but I think she's recognizing that this is probably not what she needs. So, um,
Not at all. Not at all. But apparently they liked the oysters. They liked the food. It was really, really good.
it
You know.
was. Yeah, it was. It really was. So we're gonna have to see. We'll have to wait till this next episode to find out, whether or not she decides to move on further with him, give him a second chance, or what she's gonna do. But in the meantime, we have our boy Harold. Harold is getting ready for his date and he's excited. He's got his pad. I guess he's written down some notes to himself and he's combed his hair. He doesn't have on his overalls. Did you know his suspenders? I mean, did you notice
I
that?
I did notice that. I'm like, Harold, okay, you're trying to be Harold 2.0, okay, but I do miss
Hmm.
the suspenders. That's the signature look.
No, it is
But I understand. I
it,
understand.
it is his signature look. It absolutely is. Absolutely. Hey there, to go to Africa. Good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to have you back. Yeah, so he has this nice little shirt on. What would you call that? Like, is that like an aqua or
Yeah, just an aqua polo
turquoise?
shirt.
I like that color on him. I think it's a nice color. It's bright without being, too bright. It's very, very nice. And so we see him. He's headed to his date. Um, he's going to meet up with the woman, and I'm going to see if I can get this name right. Chu Hoy, also known as Cheesy, right?
I'd
And
have stick to just saying cheesy.
yeah, yeah. But you know what? And here's the thing. So we see Harold in his Uber or his taxi ride, and we see him with the driver, and he's asking the driver how to pronounce it. And almost as soon as the driver said Chu Hoy, uh, Harold can't say it. He's not repeating it. And I'm thinking to myself, well, here's the thing. If you're going to go over to another country and you're going to make friends and make romance with another person from another culture in another country, wouldn't you want to know how to say their name?
Right. You would want to be able to say what we would call either their Christian name or their government name. You would
Hmm.
want to be at least respectful of that. And I think that she understands, or maybe, all her life she just gave her nickname as well to make it more, palatable to a foreigner.
Hmm. Yes, to go to Africa. Yes, he does have autism. He does. He does have autism.
Oh, that was to ask about Dave previously.
Oh, Dave. Oh, okay. My bad. My bad. Okay. You know what? Hmm. What did you think about that? Let me see. What did you think about that? He was just
I just said it more gave me ADHD, more a hyperactivity
yes,
with
yes.
Dave, but he
Hmm.
could considering there were certain mannerisms, and again this is all based on my experience with my son and other autistic kids. He didn't do too much eye contact, he didn't do too much touching.
Mm-mm.
That is the lens at which I was looking at Dave, but I don't know Dave, but this is just what we saw. So that's what I would kind of go with,
Mm.
with just what we saw.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes,
got.
plain Janie. Harold does look great in that blue.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Back to Harold. Back to Harold. So Harold and Chu Hoy, they meet, and I at first I got a very good impression of them. I thought she was cute. I thought she seemed bubbly. Here she has a nice smile on her face. She had on a dress that actually had hearts in it, and it's red. So I thought, wow, that's really a welcoming type of dress to have the hearts in it. And Harold even noticed that her dress had the hearts in it too. What did you think of them when they first met, Elsid?
I thought it held promise. They were both smiling nicely at each other. They seemed to both, look forward to this date. And it seemed like, okay, this is a great start. They have not switched off from just looks.
Yes, correct, correct. Yeah, because I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know if I asked you this last week, but with Harold, I wonder if how women in Singapore feel about men that are a little bit heavier. uh Anyone in the audience in the chat, anyone have any idea, or do you know if that is acceptable for a man to be a little stout or a little stocky, if you will?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to know, what their culture deems Harold's stature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But she didn't seem turned off at all by it.
No, she did not. She did not. And I will say though too, I noticed from the two women we had already met, his matchmaker and the lady who works with the matchmaker, uh um Chu Hoy is she's a little thicker. She's a little thicker than the matchmaker and the other lady. So I don't know if she would be considered a little bit fuller figured. Not, what would you say?
Right. She does seem like that. She is, not, model slender like the other two ladies, but she is, they definitely like how each other looked.
Yeah, she's very attractive. And so
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so we move on to the date. Now this is where we have the issue, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what
Mm-hmm.
in the heck? Now, Harold has a phobia about cats. So like, why is Harold um why are they setting him up? Now he loves art. Obviously he's an artist, is one of his things that he loves to do in his spare time. He actually has, we find out in this episode that he has a fine arts degree. And so obviously he's done quite a few paintings and things. So they set him up in an art studio, but the gag about this art studio is that it's cat themed, and they've got all these little kittens just running around, and they want you to feed them and so forth. What did you think about them setting them up on this kind of date?
Okay, let me go with the positive first before I go on a rant. Okay, let
Okay,
me
because I'm.
start there.
Mm-hmm.
They combine both of the things that they love. Harold, art. The art will, I guess, calm him because it is something that he is quite versed in, so it will relax him. She has a love of cats, so this also will be an element for her. For the animals, the felines that she likes are going to be here, but that is where it ends for me with the compliments, because Harold has an issue with cats because in his head he remembers a friend who had nerve damage because a cat bit a piece of their finger when they tried to feed it by hand. The
Right.
other problem I have, because cats are her favorite, and you run this, and that's why, when she was sitting down and playing with the cats, I was like, I wonder if she's on the spectrum too. Because she is very distracted by those cats. You see, that's where they run the risk. Harold could have been so distracted by the painting that he lost himself in painting rather than the conversation and everything around him.
Mm-hmm.
She was lost into the cats. And what
Yes.
she finished her painting, but she was more about interacting with these cats than with Harold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was like, you have to know your clients on the spectrum, because this is it's a tightrope.
Yeah.
Harold at least still conversed with her and everything. He would have been much calmer without the cats.
Yes, yes, he would have. But let's give Harold credit on this one, though. I thought with everything that was going on, the art being done, the cats wandering around, and Chu Hoy asking if he would feed the kitten. I thought that he did a really good job. But
Yes.
I have to say, I wonder if Chu Hoy might have been on the spectrum
I
because
think I
Hmm?
think she is. Didn't they mention it?
Oh, I didn't catch that they mentioned it. When did they say that? Did the matchmaker say that?
I think she did mention it, but they
Okay.
didn't talk any further. So I was like, okay. I said, hey, Aubrey and I talked about this last week about, love on the spectrum, how it may be
Hmm.
best to, match Harold up with someone who is on the spectrum. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome until the date. So now you created a seesaw where something Harold loves with something he has a bit of fear in, and something she
Hmm.
loves. But if it had one cat, it might have been better, because she could still paint, focus on him, and have one cat like the black cat sitting so close to her lap. But there were
Hmm.
cats around.
Everywhere. You see the
Ooh.
cat down there at her leg right there. There's a kitten. He's trying to reach over. There's a kitten right there. It's kind of cut off, but there's actually literally a kitten right there.
And one
Uh,
by her lap. Mm-hmm.
and one by her. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I didn't even see the black one. You're right by her lap. So there's a lot of. My thing is like maybe for a second date, but for a first date with him, knowing that he's on the spectrum, and you saying that because I thought that she possibly was. So you're saying that she is. I just thought that was a lot to be going on.
Right.
Just a lot,
A
lot.
lot of stimuli, even for
A lot
someone
of
like
stimuli.
myself. It's too much stimuli. Let's pick a struggle, either cats or the painting.
Extra. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, and it's a first date. This is the thing about it. It's a first date, and Dolly, Harold's matchmaker, has given him a lot of things for him to memorize and for him to do and say and to be careful of his posture and to be warm and friendly and all these different things. I'm thinking to myself, that's a lot to put on him, and then have him to deal with the cats too. That's a
Right.
whole darn lot.
Well, he
And
did conquer his fear, and as we see, he did conquer his fear. Nola Darling in the comments, he's afraid to feed them by hands because a friend of his had the tip of a finger bitten and damaged nerves. So
Ooh.
she was encouraging him to feed the cat by hand, and he explained very nicely. He's like, "Hey, this is what happened to a friend of mine. I rather put it in my palm of my hand, or put it on the ground there and let them eat over there. I don't want to
I
feed them by hand."
And what did you think of there when they finally showed their artwork? I love that Harold, as playing Jeannie, called it the painting was a little bit of a diss. I don't know if he was trying to purposely diss her, but because she didn't interact, he only saw half of her head.
Right. It was a slight diss. Hey, Plain Janie, thank you. It was a diss. He's like,
Oh, it was
I
okay.
caught the top of your head because that's all I saw of you. Because either I saw the top of your head while you were painting, or the side of your face because you were bent over feeding the cats. You weren't into me. You weren't focused on me.
Harold did a wonderful job, I think, with his painting. How he injected, how he was able to intertwine her at the top of it with what he saw, along with the face of the cat, is hilarious to me.
Right. And what I appreciated, he does have a fine arts degree, but he did not try to outpaint her.
No,
He
no,
did
he
not
did.
try to do, his best rendition, because his artwork is absolutely fabulous. The roses that he draw for the ladies, absolutely realistic. I think he stayed within range that, she's art too, but I think she was more music or something. She
Yeah,
liked art. Yeah.
she works in STEM too. She works in STEM. Yeah.
Right. So he kept it really middle of the road. Harold really showed how he can do a really good date. And I think, this was a really good date for him. If we got rid of the cats, and for her just had one cat.
Yeah. It definitely did. It just like I said, I love that Harold, he always has a great sense of humor. As you pointed out last week, he's always smiling, and that's possibly because he's aware he doesn't want to have that resting, bee face, right? He wants
Yes.
to always keep a smile and seem like he's pleasant. But Harold really, he really he really hit the nail on the head with this one, as does this person here that's saying that she was stoic to go to Africa. uh she was very stoic, and I kept thinking to myself, well, even if you don't really hit it off with this guy, I felt like she could have been a little warmer. Was it just me?
Again, I'm looking at her through the lens of the autistic challenges. Again, the facial social cues, where we may see Harold forcing a smile, periodically, so he makes certain he smiles. She isn't there. She's processing. I saw her taking
Oh, okay.
everything in. She is just processing, but she does laugh like she did there. She does pick up the social cues of a joke and stuff like that. But I see her as just processing and taking everything in. And it's like,
Oh.
Harold can do both, but I just saw it as, okay, she didn't twist her face up, but that means she's still there. She's still present. She didn't have a glazed look about her.
Right, true. She hung in there for as long as she could. So after the painting, they decide to go and have a drink and kind of talk to each other without the cats, without the art, without the paintbrush, without only the top part of her head being shown. He can now look at her whole entire face, and she can look at his whole entire face. So they go to have these drinks, and they're talking. And I think the thing of it, to me too, it seems like that I didn't particularly like about her decision in this. And of course, she's free to choose and do however she wants, but I thought that she made her decision about Harold a little bit too quickly. And she's telling Harold, she says, well, I need someone who can be more direct. I'm accustomed to that. To which at this point, Harold kind of takes that as, well, oh, okay. He says, well, I'd like to hold your hand. And she looks at him and she gives him this kind of bewildered look. Is that what it was? What did you see it as, El Cid?
It was a look of, I don't want to hold your hand, but now I've put myself in a corner and I don't know what to do. That was the look. That was the look. I told you I want an assertive man. Right. I want an assertive man. Here you're being assertive. Dang. Now I got to respond. You see, Harold has learned, he's absorbed, he is processed, and now he is utilizing all that he is being taught. And he's like, okay, he's just waiting for permission because he doesn't want to say or do the wrong thing. He's being a gentleman. So she's like, okay, I want an assertive gentleman. And Harold's like, hey, I'd like to hold your hand. Now, this is where we kind of add to Harold's teaching. Before you hold her hand, you take a little swipe on your shorts, to get the glaze off of it. And then you put your hand up so she can rest her hand on top of yours. You just need to add to his tool bag. That's it.
Okay. Because he did put his hands over. Okay, I see what you're saying. And yes, and it's they've already mentioned that it's warm in Singapore. They're in the warm season, and he's a little sweaty. Harold, I think we had that same problem with him last season. I think Harold I think he's a little bit of a sweater.
Yes, he is. Botox can help with that, Harold, if you want to do that.
Oh, good point. Good point. Harold, are you listening?
But hey, sweating is good for the body. Sweating is good for the body.
But just for his hands, though, just so that the next time when he wants to hold hands with his lady friend, that it won't be so clammy, because she was a little turned off by the clamminess. And she didn't say anything, but we get her in her confessional later saying, well, his hands were just a little bit clammy, and it was uncomfortable for me. But she also says that she feels like Harold is a very kind and sweet person. He's just not, there's no spark there. So they both felt that there was no spark there. Right.
There was absolutely no spark. What I did like is she did want to learn more about Harold. He did order a mocktail. And he did ask about their mocktails, and she asked, well, why are you not ordering an actual drink? And he just says, hey, he doesn't drink really. He'll social drink, have a drink maybe. he said like a half a drink or something, but
Mm-hmm.
he said that's not his thing. So she was interested in still asking him questions, because usually somebody at this point, they would have shut down, don't even ask, I'm just here so I don't get fined. But she was still asking him questions to get to know him, is what I really liked about her.
Yeah, that is true. Well, but now going back to what I was saying, this episode to me reminded me a lot about expectations that the Americans have when they go into other cultures and other countries, expectations that the dater from Singapore, this is in her homeland, what expectations she might have of Harold, being that he's an American. Because what she did mention was, she said, maybe am I wrong or not, I'm not sure, but I kind of expected that most Americans like to drink a lot. Did you catch that?
Yes, yes, and it's like a stereotype, and I'm like, young
Hmm.
lady, do not bring up American stereotypes if you don't want him to bring up Asian stereotypes. That's where I
Mm.
cringed. I was like, no, cheesy, please don't.
Yeah, cheesy, stop it.
Is this why it's cheesy? I mean, is this why cheesy is the nickname?
Mm. Well, and I guess going back to the commenter that said that she was very stoic. That, in my mind, if I were to have a stereotype about Asian people, would be one that I would have, that they're very stoic and they're very matter of fact. Um, and that doesn't always hit really well on a first date when you're trying to get to connect, when you're trying to make an emotional connection with someone. What do you think?
Right. She could just, change it up just a little bit and say, oh, it's refreshing to hear, someone from the States, order a mocktail. You don't have to, you ain't talk about drinking. You ain't saying nothing like that. It's like, oh, it's interesting that, you're into mocktails. I like XYZ, and you bring it into your interests.
Right.
So I'm hoping that the matchmaker also has some cues for her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if she's
Absolutely.
expecting to be dating more foreigners, there's some things you don't bring up.
Yeah, yeah, because I thought that was a little, and I won't say that I was offended, but I thought that some Americans could be offended by that. And then we never found out what she was drinking. So was she drinking a regular cocktail, or like you said, maybe she had a cocktail,
Right.
maybe not.
Right. What's up with production? We needed to hear her order
Yeah, we did. We surely did.
so we could
Yes,
talk
we
about
did.
her more.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, like, and I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe because she seemed conservative, I didn't really picture her ordering a cocktail. Maybe she had tea, because I wanted someone like the matchmaker to suggest to Harold, because remember the first time he went out on the mock date, he actually decided he was going to order milk, which they thought that was a little odd for a grown man to order milk. But I was
Right.
thinking that he should order tea. Tea is a universally accepted drink all over the world.
Well, he also, it's evening time. You're going to dinner, so hey, hey.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just thought, tea would be something that could be acceptable. And then if she wanted to ask him, did he want a cocktail, he could explain that to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, but these guys, I don't know. I think it was kind of not the world's best setup for them, unfortunately. But, it was what it was. Um,
They
and so
learned something.
they learned something. They learned something. And so now we move on to our girl. We're in Dublin, Ireland, and we move on to our girl. This is Amber. Amber is in Ireland, and she is cutting up with her Diana Ross like hair.
Mm,
she
mm,
she
mm, mm.
is cutting up. She is really cutting up,
She
and
gave me my most favorite short this week. She is cutting up. I got a second short from her that I'm going to release, I guess, after the show. Mm-mm-mm.
oh, okay, okay. Very good, very good. Well, so here we see her meeting up with Katerina again. And as always, she looks adorable. She's well dressed. She's got that big hair. They're meeting in this library that is apparently goes back to like the 14th, 15th century, the books, which is why everything is roped off. You cannot touch this stuff because it may very well crumble in your hands, but it is a very famous library over in Dublin, right?
Right. I wondered why we're filming in here, but it's someplace that is of significance.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought too, it's also, when you think about production value, it's also someplace that's quiet. They could have alone time and they could set up and not be worried about other tourists or other patrons, because it looked
Right.
like they were maybe in a special section of the library too. I'm sure there's probably other sections where they do have other people. So that's what I was thinking. Um, so they meet up, and Katerina, she's kind of already pegged our girl Amber. She's like,
Hmm.
Amber has been engaged not once, not twice, but thrice. She's been engaged 3 times, and guess how many times she's made it to the altar?
Nada.
Nada. Big old goose egg right there. This girl has never made it to the altar, but yet she's accepted 3 proposals, and I'm wondering why that is. Like, oh, hey there, Bible
Bible lady.
Bible lady. Hey there, Bible lady. Welcome in, welcome in. You're driving, yes, that's fine. You stay right there in the bushes and stay safe. Stay safe, okay? And thanks for joining us and watching and tuning into us, okay? So what did you think about the conversation that Amber had with Katerina? And she begins to talk to Katerina about, you set me up on a date and I really like
Mm.
Kayvon, but I found out at the end of our date that Kayvon still lives at home with his parents and his grandparents. Is this like a cultural norm?
Well, because she said she didn't want to whisper this the bad word, and the bad word is broke. Did you set me up with a broke man? What did I come all the way from the United States to Ireland for a man who lives with his parents and
Uh-huh.
broke? So Carolina is like, no, he's not broke, but it is a cultural norm, she says, that they do coexist as a family unit. And we know he lives not on a farm, but he lives a little bit away from Dublin. So it could be a family farm like the alpaca place.
That's what I'm
We don't
thinking.
know. Yeah,
We
we
don't
don't
know.
know yet. Yeah, we don't know because, back in the day with brownstones in Brooklyn, families had a floor. Families had their own apartment, but they're in the family brownstone. We don't know if that's his setup, but automatically she thought that. But can we go a little bit before that?
Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Where she said, "Oh, he was a complete gentleman. He was a complete gentleman." And this is where I knew her matchmaker Carolina had a whole bunch of spice that we don't see. She's like, "Well, I hope he's not a gentleman in bed because that would be very boring." Carolina, thank you.
Oh,
Thank
Katerina, she's the real deal. She's a lady, but we see that she definitely has a spicier side to her. And I'm only imagining, I don't know, but I imagine that Amber definitely has a spicy side as well.
Right. So Carolina's like, "Let's hope he ain't boring in bed, but
Hmm.
I know he ain't broke. So let's get away from that. He ain't
Hmm.
broke. It may be a cultural difference." And it seems like Amber's like, "Okay, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. Who else you got on the list?"
Something came to my mind. She ain't a I'm not calling her a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke gingers.
Right.
She
She ain't
ain't
messing with
messing with
no
no
at
broke gingers.
home gingers either. If you are at home, you could go on down the road.
My thinking is though, if she would stop and think about it, I'm glad she did at least ask Katerina before she just decided not to even see Kevon anymore. But I think the thing about it is though too, if he's at home with his family and he's gainfully employed, he's earning money, it could be that he's saving money so that when he meets the lady of his liking and he asked her to marry him, he has the money for their new home. He already has this money,
But
right?
that's what we're thinking for our cultural norm. His cultural norm could be like other countries where if he marries a lady, that she's expected to come and live on the family property. We have to learn.
Oh,
We have to know
oh,
what the expectations are. As you said, it's expectations. What does the foreigner and what does the local
oh.
person expect from this relationship?
That's it. The expectations. Just you're exactly right. What are the expectations? Because and here's the thing I've been wondering all along about these guys in Ireland, because Ireland seems to be a very beautiful country. They seem to be economically stable. This is my guessing. I haven't done a lot of research, guys. So go ahead and do your own research, and we'll find out more about it and talk about it more next week. But I'm thinking to myself now, if he's in Ireland and he's maybe on this family farm, as you said, we're thinking that it is he going to want to move to the States? Is she going to be willing to move to Ireland? Because when you pursue someone from another country, now the question comes in, where are you two going to live? If you really hit it off and you decide to be together forever, where are you guys going to live?
In this climate, she better go to Ireland.
That's what I'm thinking
That
too.
is all I'm going to say about that part. But she might, and it goes back to you, and you're saying, what is the expectations? I would like to know, because we know Monica from California, her expectation is not to leave the US because her daughter plays and is in college and her family is still in California. But again, what is the expectation for Amber? Is she going to move to Ireland, or is she expecting her Irish sweetheart to move to the US?
I think, and I don't know, you're right. I absolutely don't. They haven't said what her expectations are, but I'm going to venture a guess that most Americans on this show think so highly of America, they're going to expect the other country, the other person to come over here, because I think that's just going to be their expectation. What would you think about that?
I don't know, why are you seeking someone abroad? I don't think they understand, all even before this current climate, all the legalities that go into bringing a fiance into either country. Either country. It is a mountain to climb with immigration, naturalization, and eventually, if your partner wishes to have citizenship in your country, they will have to go through some serious paperwork. We talked about 90-day visa for the US. Now there's 90-day visa, type of laws for every country. I wonder if Amber and anyone else who's going to somewhere has looked it up. I know Harold has. I'm sure we could contact Harold, and Harold gonna know what it is to migrate to Singapore. But I don't know. I don't know if the at least we know Harold is willing to move to Singapore. We don't know about Amber, if she's willing to move to Ireland.
Yeah, we don't know. We really don't know. But that's the question, and I'm very curious to find out the answer. But as we get to know more about them, I'm sure we'll find out more about that situation.
She better go to Ireland and get some property. If y'all want to look it up, this is not a tagline for Ireland, but Ireland has it's trying to encourage people to migrate there. And there are government programs just like Italy, not the €1 homes, but there are government programs where they are going to subsidize a home rehab if you purchase the home, and a home that's older than a certain X amount of years, hasn't been inhabited, and they will give you, X amount of dollars to rehab that home. It does not guarantee you residency, but you definitely will have a home you can go back and forth to. So if anybody looking at Ireland, like Amber is looking at Ireland, they do have those programs.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. And am I correct in thinking that they have economic and political stability at this point in that country, in Ireland?
That's what we're told, and that's why Amber is there too, because of that, and because the English language is pervasive.
Okay. So she's not as big of she's not as likely to run into a challenge with the language there. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So we've got Amber. We've done a lot about Amber, and we're going to see Amber. Basically, Katerina is telling her that she wants her to meet and date another man, even though Amber seems to really be interested in Kavan. She wants her to date someone else because she says, with a woman who has had three broken engagements, I think it's best to get her to, see as many people, as many men as possible, to really root out and find out what it is she really, really wants in her guy, right?
Right. Right.
And then over to Brazil. We're over in Brazil, and we have our friend, we have our wonderful friend Monica. Monica, we know, is from California, and she's the one who has the college daughter in college who is on a full scholarship, and she's a single mom, and that was her only child. So she's very lonely, and now she's ready to get back out there and start dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's ready to get out there, and she wanted to go to Brazil because she's Catholic, and she knows that Brazil has the largest number of Catholic people in the entire world. So she's on her way to meet her date. She stops and smells the flowers, so to speak, quite literally. And she meets Bernardo. Bernardo is Monica's match. He's quite handsome. She says she looks at him, and in the confessional, she tells us he has the most beautiful brown eyes. He's quite attractive. He has a full head of hair. He's with his friends, and they're getting ready to play. What is it called? What is the foot volley? Is it foot
Yeah,
volley?
foot volley.
Foot volley. They're going to play foot volley, so it's going to be 2 against 2. And the men, before they get ready to go out, they decide to strip their tops off, and she is just fascinated, like, wow, like, ooh, hubba, hubba, hubba.
Where she yells, "I love Brazil!"
What did you think of this? Was she being a little I don't want to, I'm not gonna say the word superficial, but is she being a little less
Thirsty. Thirsty.
thirsty?
Just
Oh,
a
okay.
little thirsty. But I understand it. But Bernardo, see, look, that's his friend there. Bernardo, you do not bring friends that look a little more attractive in the body than you when you're coming for your first date. I understand, but her eyes can stray. And she certainly admired all of the landscape that was in front of her. I would have admired it too.
I would have too. I love seeing a guy's chest. And if it's got a few little hairs on it, all the better. I like a man with a little hairy chest myself. So that's a very good question to go to Africa about. I think when we were at the last one in Ireland. Do you know, El Cid, whether or not that is intended for people of African or European descent, or for all people?
I saw it there they were trying to encourage people from, all over to come to Ireland and relocate, because Ireland, like most countries, are, suffering a population decline.
Yes, yes.
If you were willing to live on one of the Irish islands, which are only, you have to go by boat and all of that stuff, they were going to pay 100%. But of course, you're isolated during the winter months. But it is open to all. The only thing is that if you are of Commonwealth descent, then you are more likely to get residency easier, because even though you got a property doesn't mean that you get a certain migration status in Ireland. So certainly look it up. I may do a live talking about what I have learned about things abroad in different countries. It may be correct. Things may have changed, but I'm certainly fascinated by other countries. But yes, since I am of Trinidadian descent, I was born in Trinidad. I am also Commonwealth. I am a U.S. citizen, but I also can get a Commonwealth passport. I could certainly get residency in Ireland if I wanted.
Nice.
But Ireland is absolutely beautiful. My thing is, I don't want to go anywhere with cold weather anymore. So
yeah, that's kind of my thing too. Like that would have to be like a summer home or something. Cause
right.
I ain't trying to do snow no more. Once I leave Michigan, I'm not trying to do no more snow. Okay.
Right.
But back to Bernardo and Monica, they hit it off so well that after the foot volley game that they seem to have won, they decide to go and meet up later on for some beverages, some adult beverages.
Did you explain the foot volley? Foot volley is
know that.
It's just volleyball, but you cannot use your hands. It's kind of like football and volleyball together. You could use your head and your feet, same volleyball net, but you cannot use your hands.
Mm, right, right. That is so true. That is so true. Um, and so they end up meeting, at her hotel in the lobby, down in the lobby. They go to have drinks, I guess, in the hotel, bar, and they're sitting talking, and we find out some more about Bernardo, and we find out that Bernardo is interested in having children of his own. He's a man of about 40 and never been married, no children, and he would like to have a family. Now, Monica in her confessional tells us that, well, she's got a 21-year-old daughter, and even though she was a very young mom, she's not really interested in starting all over again. But she waits a while. They have some more conversation because she's a little afraid to say anything to Bernardo. But toward the end of the date, she finally decides that it's better for him to know now than for him to find out later that they're not compatible. So she tells him, Bernardo, I was thinking about what you said earlier in the date, and you said that you would like to have children, but I just wanted to let you know, and I hope this doesn't change your feelings about me, but I'm not interested in having any more children. What did you think of that conversation?
I think it was wonderful. I think she definitely listened to her matchmaker who said, "Hey, you cannot be surface level. You are going to find a lot of six packs and a lot of hot bodies here in Brazil. What beyond that are you looking for? When you are 80, you cannot, depend on the six pack and the pretty face being there. What else is there? Go to the deeper questions." So they did, have a great, location at the hotel bar. She did look very, very cute, and he was, he wanted children, understandably, and they are definitely not going along the same pathway, because she's like, "Hey, I'm done. Shop is closed. My daughter's in college. I'm not trying to go start all over again." And I think it screamed that she was very, very mature in the fact that she could have this conversation with him and say, like, "You know what, this is a catch and release. I gotta release this man back, to the wild, because he ain't for me."
Right, right, right. He is not. He is not. If he doesn't like that, because we don't know yet. When we left off, I believe was it this episode that he asked, could he walk her back to her room?
Expectations, that is another one, because she said, "I don't know what I should do in this arena. Is it okay for a gentleman to walk you back to your room?" I think she was more thinking of not only cultural but safety. What do you do?
Right, right, exactly. She wanted to know if that was a Brazilian thing, and I thought, once again, like you said, expectations, because who knows? Is that a Brazilian thing? Is that a Bernardo thing? Or like I know she's in the hotel. It's a nice upscale hotel, so I didn't think that he would necessarily be afraid that she was unsafe getting on the elevator going up 10 floors to go to her hotel room. But at the same time, I thought it was very thoughtful of him to ask. What would you have read it as if you had been in her situation, in her shoes?
Considering how he behaves, I think it would have been a gentlemanly thing. They certainly did not want to end the date earlier when they did the foot volley. They certainly don't look like they wanted to end the conversation with the drinks in the lobby. So it just gave me a sense of they still were connecting with each other and didn't want the date to end. And it was just the final way to have more time together in his mind. Because, he is attracted. He thinks she's very attractive. She's
Hmm.
attracted to him too. But
Yeah.
again, where they are in life just does not match.
Right, right. It just, yeah, because he no children and she has a child that's grown, so she's not willing to go back there. And I'm kind of also thinking, and maybe this is just me, but I'm thinking like I don't know. Men are different because we know that they have a longer longevity as it comes to producing children than women do. So that I won't even comment on that. But
Right.
they did have a nice day. It did go well. I think that she will be meeting Bruno maybe in this next episode, who is someone that she had already seen a picture of and was quite attracted to. And we'll find out more about that. the other thing, let's see. Hold on. Uh, the other thing is coming up for the next week. I think this is going to be so fascinating. I can't
Mm.
wait to see this one right here. I'm just really excited to see. I believe it's Sarah. Sarah is coming to town. She's coming to, what is it Singapore or Brazil?
Singapore.
Singapore. She's coming to Singapore, and I don't know. It's kind of cut off right here, but I thought her mother actually looked like she could be her sister.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I was like, wow, that's always a little scary. And it looks like, also, just my observation, not trying to throw shade, but it looks like Sarah's had quite a bit of work done.
Oh, yes. Sarah has been under the knife.
Yeah. And to me, it's not been good to her, because this is one of the reasons why her mother looks like she could be her sister. Because her mother, on the other hand, doesn't appear to have had any work, and if she has had some work, it's very subtle, unlike
Right.
Sarah.
We could see that the mother has, what we can see of the mother, she has not had any lip fillers. Okay.
Nope,
We could
nope.
see the slight tilt of the nose, and mama still has her own nose.
Yep,
You know, the little that we can see of the mother, we can see that she, once y'all see her, she isn't heavily made up. And that's one of the things the matchmaker did ask. She's like,
oh,
will you be willing to
right,
remove some of your heavy makeup?
yes. To which Sarah looked at her as if she had spoken and basically cursed her out, and she was like, no, no,
Absolutely not.
not. So I think Sarah is going to be quite a pistol. We see that she's from Texas. I don't know which city in Texas, but I'm guessing maybe a Dallas girl, perhaps.
We got
Um,
lots of Texas in the house.
we got lots of Texas, right? With Amber and with Harold. Yes, we do. And Sarah now. So I think Sarah's going to be quite interesting. She reminds me of someone from 90 Day Fiance. Oh, the lady that is
Mm-hmm.
with Sarper,
Mm-hmm.
Shekinah. She reminds me a lot of Shekinah in this, in looking at her, like her overly done face and all this stuff that she's
Right.
had done. But we're looking forward to that for the next episode, which is tonight, by the way, guys, on TLC, the station and network TLC, and that's at 10 p.m. Uh, it's called Match Me Abroad. And I wanted to make the announcement that this week we will be moving our recap over to Tuesday, so that you guys, when you watch it tonight, you'll be able to follow us and come live with us on the recap on Tuesday. What time is that going to be?
You
Is that
said
going to
five
be about
o'clock?
5 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yes, 5 p.m. That'll be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you guys will join us. And on another note, I've got one more to share from the previews. This is really fascinating. But hold on, guys. Give me just 1 second to get this off the screen and come back down here. They told our girl Amber that her new guy they want her to meet has his own estate, and this is what the estate looks like.
It is an estate. I will not have any estate talk derogatory in any fashion. That is an estate. That is property. He owns the property.
Okay.
And
Okay,
he
property.
probably sleeps in the Winnebago on the left, the green Winnebago right there. That is the king of his castle.
Girl. She thought her man living with her, with his parents and grandparents, at least it sounds like they got a roof over their head. I think I would take Kavan over this new guy.
The estate, y'all, looks like a very huge barn, the huge top of a barn that is very open to the elements. The estate, looks like it has seen better times, and it's more like a work shed is what it looks like. That's what, and he does his art and all of that. And quite frankly, I'm side eyeing it. But for him to own that much land, it's going to be valuable. It is valuable. But then what is the quality of the life that Amber wishes to have?
Right, right. Because at the end of the day, lifestyle expectations and lifestyle do matter. Like my biggest thing with Amber is that while she seems to be really enjoying Dublin, Ireland, I think that the parts where she's been, where the men that she's meeting, they're out in the countryside. I don't know if she's going to be able to compromise her city style life coming from Fort Worth, Texas, moving over
Hmm.
to Dublin, Ireland. I don't know if she's going to be able to reconcile that. What do what are your thoughts?
I agree because she is a makeup artist, so she has to be in the thick of things close to where the clients are. And I'm not sure how many clients are out there in the countryside. So it truly, she will have to find someone who is very close to the city, very close to what's happening. And y'all, I put in there in the article in my chat, if y'all want to click after this, that is a breakdown of information about the housing grants in Ireland. And if you go out there, they're
Nice.
they're really pushing more for the outer islands to be inhabited, but there are housing grants. It is for vacant property refurbished grant. So you can click there and certainly see it. It does not grant you citizenship or naturalization, but you don't have to have citizenship to own property there or any country. You just need to know their rules and consult a lawyer and stuff like that. So definitely, and as I said, I am a part of the Commonwealth as well. So it definitely was like, it's interesting, but not so much that I will actually do it. But I was interested to see that not only the countries we're so used to hearing about, with their depopulation, but apparently Ireland is going through it as well, which was very
Yeah,
interesting.
that is very interesting. That is very interesting. So, Elsie, tell the people where they can find you and what you got going on. And then we're going to shimmy and shake on out of here.
Okay, I am Elsid 932, as my avatar says. You could find me here on the YouTube streets. I am also Elsid Speaks. If you go to my channel, you will see my handles everywhere. I am doing Match Me Abroad here with actually Aubrey. I'm also, doing King's Court. I believe that's going to be on Tuesday as well after we do Match Me Abroad. That's going to be 7 with Just Rhonda 01. I'm also doing Alone, the survivalist show on the History Channel. I release that recap every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And if you are into Project Runway, the fashion
Yes.
show, definitely we are doing that recap. It's only going to be live. I haven't figured out a time on Saturday, but we have done the Meet the Designers. It is my highest viewed show, almost to 1,000 views on that video.
Yay! Woohoo!
Absolutely love everybody who has contributed to the viewing audience of that. And Law Roach is a permanent judge, and that is the only reason I'm doing Project Runway. Yes, Heidi's back. Yes, Christian's still there. Yes, Nina Garcia is still there. Like them all. But Law Roach is a judge there, and I know he will give us all that needs to be given for the critiques of the fashion. So yes, we'll be doing that on a Saturday, but please go see Meet the Designers. And I also do Unsolicited Advice, where we pick up everything that people ask advice on the internet about, and we give our unsolicited advice. And every Friday is Unscripted, where the audience leads the conversation. And they've already told me this Friday we're going to start with my natural hair journey. So that's where we're going to go. Maybe we talk about the
Ooh,
Irish property thing again, but it's whatever
ooh.
the audience wants to talk about. So
I
I'm
can't.
busy.
Yeah, you are very busy, and I can't wait to hear about the natural hair journey because I'm telling you all the time, I love your hair. It is so gorgeous. So I will definitely be there on Friday, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll be back, guys. As I said, as a reminder, the show will now be moving from Sunday evening to Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing Match Me Abroad season 2, guys. So be sure and check it out tonight on TLC so you can follow along and chat with us live, okay? Or catch us on the replay and don't forget to chat with us there too. Guys, we're ready to shimmy and shake on out of here, Else?
Shimmy and shake out.
All right, here we go.